any athlete, the only time I actually use heart rate as a guide for intensity is zone 2. And every athlete that I work with does zone 2 training. It's just that they do it a little bit differently. But you have to remember that zone 2, you have to stay within that range. If you go slower than that, so in this example, if your heart rate goes to below 140, you're now in what is called like zone 1. And that doesn't create the cardiorespiratory adaptation that zone 2 does. It's more of a recovery level of intensity. The purpose of zone 1 is to increase your circulation so that, let's say you did a hard workout or some hard event. If you increase your circulation, what happens is the contaminants that are sitting in the muscle tissue, they get flushed by the blood coming in and bringing the contaminants out. And so the purpose behind going lower than that is more for recovery. But it's a low intensity. The problem is most people, when they do it, they end up thinking, well, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to bump up my intensity.
Yeah.
The heart rate goes above, in this example, 150, and then they just ruin their workout because it's not intended to be into zone 3. It is intended to be cardiorespiratory adaptation. There's many other reasons why zone 2, for example, at zone 2, when your oxygen comes in, that oxygen has to convert a fat or a carb into energy. I mean, it could do protein, but let's leave that out. At zone 2, you are metabolically balanced, meaning 50% of your energy is coming from carbs and 50 is coming from fat. Now, if I go faster than that, a higher percentage is coming from carbs. Essentially, I'm becoming carb dominant. You want to stay metabolically balanced. You want to make sure that the body is always capable of burning and utilizing fat as a fuel choice. So if you're always going fast, then you're just a carb dominant burning machine. You have to always retain the ability to burn fat as a fuel. So in this case, faster is not better because of that metabolic stability. The other thing is that as soon as your heart rate goes above that 150, then you're starting to recruit fast twitch muscle fibers. And in a zone 2 workout, fast twitch fibers have no place in there. It is a slow twitch, recovery-based workout. But that's where a lot of athletes, it's like they're brainwashed into thinking faster is better when in fact it's not, because you have to know the purpose. And that's why, like every workout that I write, here's the purpose of it. So if I'm not there, you can execute it.
Yeah.
Zone 3, just real quick, it's a little bit like hitting the panic button. Like it's not like zone 3 is bad. It's just that your body has a cascade of results from the zone 3 that puts you at a higher training intensity, which might not be desired on a day when you're going to select something like rucking and you're trying to stay within zone 2.
Here's the issue. Is that so Nsima, let's say that you're going to do your 20-minute zone 2. You haven't done it before, and I'm going to give you an initial prescription.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it in rucking because of what you're wanting, structural integrity, and you don't want to run, you just want to ruck. So what we're going to do is we're going to put enough load on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on a treadmill, and I'm going to hit a start button, and you're just going to keep up with that treadmill. What will happen is because you've never done it before, all right? You're on that treadmill, and right when you start, the brain is responsible for the recruitment of your motor units, right? So it's looking at your intensity and it's matching that intensity with giving you just enough fiber to actually maintain that speed. And because the speed is low, it's not going to give you your fast twitch fibers. It's going to save those. So it's going to give you the bare minimum of slow twitch fibers, just enough to match that intensity. Well, those are now doing the work. All your other fibers, they're actually doing nothing. They're recovering. So you're continuing on this treadmill and you're working your way through your 20 minutes. Your heart rate's starting to climb and now it's in that sweet spot. What's going to happen is these fibers will eventually fatigue, and the brain, when they fail, shuts them off, and now they're resting. Simultaneously, seamless to you, it brings in new slow twitch fibers so that you just continue moving. You don't even know what happened. These fatigue and fail and the brain shuts them off and it brings in new ones. These are now doing the work. They fail and you make your way all the way around to your original recruited fibers. These fibers eventually will fatigue and fail. And let's just say you still have 5 minutes to go in your 20 minutes. What's going to happen is these fibers have now failed. And because you don't have the stamina, you have never done this kind of work before, these original fibers that you use to do this workout are going to sit there and say, you know what? I can't go back in the game. I still need more rest. You've never asked me to go back in. I can't do it. So what happens is that the average person has a ratio of 50% fast twitch and 50 slow. So half of your capacity is like, man, I want to go in. Let me go. Let me go. All of a sudden, the brain has no choice. You end up recruiting fast twitch muscle fibers. And what happens by doing that, they need more oxygen, breathing rate goes up, heart rate goes up, and you see your heart rate start to spike. As soon as your heart rate hits that upper limit of zone 2, it should send a signal to every athlete. I am recruiting fast twitch fibers in a slow twitch workout, and that is not allowed. So the problem is that this is where athletes get confused, because I'm interested in performance, right? I want to know how fast are you in that 20 minutes. Yeah, longevity is important, but performance is, it's almost like if you did your marathon and it's like, what was your average heart rate? Who cares, right? How fast were you? What was your speed? What was your finishing time? And so performance is, how fast are you when you're on this tread? That's what I'm interested in. The problem is that when athletes, they encounter this situation where they think faster is better and the heart rate spikes, they're now using more carbs. They're no longer in that cardiorespiratory key adaptation of zone 2, and they're recruiting these fast fibers. And what's happening? Think about it. Imagine these slow twitch fibers are saying, I can't go back in. And you're saying, no problem. I'll just recruit fast twitch fibers and finish. How on earth are you ever going to build muscular stamina? Remember, marathon runners recycle those slow twitch over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Until when? Till they absolutely must have them in the finish or a steep hill. If you always tell these slow twitch fibers that are still tired, don't worry, you never have to go back in the game, then why are you surprised you never build stamina? Because you're always rewarding them for their inadequacy. You have to get them back in the game. And so this is where athletes sit and struggle. Okay, well, what would I do? And this is where I say, as soon as your heart rate hits the upper limit, you know you've lost the stimulus. What I want you to do is, I want you to walk. Walking is fine, all right? Slow twitch. And how long do you walk for? Until you hit the lower limit. That's when you know those fibers are ready to go back in the game. And then you go right back into your same intensity. So what I want you to do is I want you, if you're on a treadmill, to maintain that same speed from start to finish without walking. 20 minutes. If you can do that, you've got good foundation. It's time to now put some speed on.